Okay, what's good people? Today I've got a little trade review. I'm going to be reviewing the trades I took this week. I'm also going to be giving a little update on the channel, my plans for it, and well, how I want to go forward. Okay, so I've dropped up onto the daily on gold to review the first of two trades I've taken this week. This trade, if I believe, was taken on Wednesday. I then took a second trade on Thursday. They're the only two trades I took this week. I normally take more, however, the market wasn't showing me opportunities, so I'm not going to force anything. So, starting on the daily, as you can see, historically gold is bullish. Gold always has been bullish. We do have these periods of longer drawdown like we have had here. However, we normally expect gold to move up. So we was in this period of price moving lower for around a month of April. Now, obviously, now it's the end of May. So, just over a month. Price came back and respected this daily fair value gap with the bodies very nice, as you can see here. We came down into it 3 times, respected each time, and then moved to the upside. So I was following this up. We then filled this daily fair value gap, closed just below it, and then closed just below the top of the fair value gap, sorry, then closed below it. This, to me, when I saw this, I was thinking, okay, we may be moving lower to grab some sort of liquidity before, especially as we didn't have any fair value gap in this zone, or any sort of liquidity. Obviously, we could have just moved higher as it is gold and it is bullish. However, I was under the impression we maybe will want more liquidity or some fair value before selling price to potentially continue to the upside. I have a standard deviation target. If you haven't watched my video about that, by the way, go and watch it, at 3,480, which is just below all-time highs, if I'm correct. Yeah, it's $20 below the all-time highs. So, now you saw my daily. For why I thought it was going to move lower, we dropped down to the 4 hours. So as you can see, price has been moving lower. We showed displacement with these fair value gaps. We was then trading in this fair value gap right here. Whilst making this big displacement candle, we inverted 2 4-hour fair value gaps right here. We was respecting this one at first. Obviously, it then became invalid with this close, but I was already in the position by then. This candle closed at 5. And this one right here. So we was respecting this, which my original idea was, okay, we'll play off here down to there, but obviously have this marked out, because if we don't, there is somewhere else. Just because we've gone through this, it doesn't mean, oh, we're now going to go higher, because we have somewhere else. And we ended up respecting that. So this was my original one. I kept it here to show you that, and you have to have adaptability. Obviously, if this wasn't here, we're still in this 4-hour fair value gap, but you could look at something different. But it's just important to have everything on the charts so you know what could happen and where price would actually have to go to change your bias. So we can delete this one and drop down to the 1-hour chart. So as you can see, this was over Asia, I believe, yep. We was respecting this 1 hour, price came lower, we ended up sweeping this low, and then price was moving higher quite a lot. We then came into this with 4-hour inversion fair value gap, and from this hourly close, as you can see, I entered at 4, so from 3. You can see we were respecting the consequent encroachment of this 4-hour fair value gap nicely. As you can see, we closed below it. So I was thinking, okay, we have that, a 4-hour inversion, consequent encroachment of the 4-hour, daily context aligns. I'm happy to get into sell. As you can see on the 5-minute, we swept a high, then had a market structure shift. You'll see it more clearly on the 1. So we broke above here. This is manipulation. And then when we closed below with this candle closed below this candle's low, which was the lowest candle before we took the high. I thought, okay, we would continue to the downside. That ended up not happening. Price moved higher, swept this high right here. And then unfortunately for me, went down into my take profit. So yeah, price did continue lower. I can let it play out. One thing I do quickly want to say is I haven't uploaded for a bit. I wasn't well on Monday, which is normally when I'd make some sort of video. However, I really don't have the time to be making educational videos, especially ones where I have to edit them a lot. I have to edit my videos. I don't really want someone else doing it. Whereas videos like this one, they're raw. I can literally just talk. I don't have a script. Sometimes I'll have a certain script of stuff I want to say. I don't have any of that, so you might catch me waffling a bit, if so, I'm sorry. As you can see, we swept these highs from the London session, and then price moved lower. So if you're trading New York, you could have got a great session, great trade, especially if you was using this 1 hour fair value gap and took it to the downside. We did go into my target, both of them. and this daily fair value gap. Obviously, if we take this, we've gone into there. So yeah, going back to the YouTube, I'm gonna do these every week to hold me accountable, to show you my journey of improving as a trader, and you can see everything I take every week. I'll break it down like I am now, sometimes in more details than others if stuff needs to be explained. Yeah, that's my plans. I know I said more about educational stuff, however, it takes so long to edit, record, script. I might occasionally, but I'm more just going to be doing stuff on my personal trading, unless something really is requested, or I can even make a TikTok about it as it's short form, and I'm enjoying TikTok at the minute. So let's jump into Thursday, which is the next day. As you can see, I thought we could have been seeking one of these lows. We then came into this daily fair value gap. Ignore the current day candle or Thursday's one. Our attention is on this right here for the minute. Wednesday, we swept this low, we tapped into it, and you can see we made a big rejection. So that, to me, when I see that from sweeping daily low, which is a major pool of liquidity, there's a lot of liquidity under here. Banks, other big institutions use the daily for levels, so there was a lot of stops under here. Plus this daily fair value gap, plus this became, as I said, I wanted price to sweep something to potentially move us higher. This is a great, the best place to buy realistically in this leg. So dropping down to the 4 hour, I'll just speed this up a bit to get into my time. There wasn't really much on here. We had this 4 hour fair value gap. We'll see if we respected consequent encroachment. I don't have my notes up, so I can't see. As you can see, I have no tabs. We did respect that, so that was also another nice confluence. 1 hour wise, we swept this low, came into this fair value gap right here on the 1 hour, respected it really nicely and was moving higher. I don't start trading until 3. I let the first hour of London do its thing. This trade's quite interesting, and I want to explain my entry because it wasn't as ideal as I wanted it to be. However, this is important and is an important lesson for adapting whilst not chasing price at the same time. If we look at 1 minute structure, we can see this was a high. We had this pullback. We then broke the high right here. So if we have this marked up like so, you could have had a potential entry here with stops. Ideally, you want stops below somewhere pretty significant. So this low right here looks good, and it's below this 1 hour fair value gap if you remember. So you could have gone a bit below here. However, I like my maximum stop loss to be 1,000. As you can see, we didn't tap that at all. I then saw price start moving away. We had this pullback, wasn't enough. Maybe even if I was really tight, I don't think we would have got it exactly, which I don't want anyway. We had that. Price then moved higher, so I was thinking, okay, this is also 5 minute structure. This high was as well, if I believe, or this high even, sorry. This was 5 minute structure. So if I pull a fib, you can then see we have made this high after breaking this high right here. And we then had a pullback. And this, so I was thinking, okay, I couldn't get in down here. We're likely not to pull back if we break this high anyway. There's no reason for us to come back down to here at all, unless my idea is wrong. So instead of using the 1 minute market structure shift like I usually would, which would have had entry right here, I waited for a 5 minute to confirm we was having that shift. That then makes this low strong. And as well as that, if you go on to the 15 minute, we have this fair value gap right here. So I put my low below this instead of down here, because if we've tapped into it, then had a market structure shift, this low should be strong. That if we do go down there, it's likely we're just moving lower. And as well as that, obviously this hadn't formed yet, this fair value gap, because this candle hadn't closed. But I thought this will be the low of the fair value gap, because obviously this high is already printed. If I'm below here, I'm also safe. So those three confluences together meant, although it wasn't the original stop loss I wanted below this 1 hour fair value gap and an area we'd already moved away from, this puts me in the safest bet to be in a safe spot, as it is slightly more compromised than the other. So you need to be careful, not just chase and getting off the next 1 minute shift. Even though it would have worked here, it's a lot more risky as price is already moving higher. Sometimes it will just go without you and you have to let it run. And as you can see, price did, I will probably be on the 5 minute. The trade took some heat and went low. Again, why I'm expressed that breathing room, because if you didn't have the breathing room, you just put it here. you've been stopped out, and let's say you've done that for the previous trade and this one, you would have had 2 trades where you got stopped out in a row, but it didn't really make sense for you to get stopped out because you was right both times. And then, as you can see, obviously I hinted that before, price went straight up to the take profit, nice 2R here. So, and as you can see on the 1 minute, we filled this fair value gap, and then price moved higher. It's great, perfect. As well as this, my target was just below this. We had this for our fair value gap. Obviously, price rocketed through and went up to here, and then has pulled back since. However, it's a pretty big point of sabotage, which is 4 hour. Only targeted 2R anyway, so it made sense. So yeah, they're the 2 trades I've took. There's also that little YouTube update. These are going to be out every week. I know I've said I was going to do that before, but I didn't. However, to be honest, I don't know what that however was going to be. There's no excuses. Yeah, so I hope you can enjoy this. I hope you can accept my apology. I'm going to be back every week. It will either be Friday or Saturday, depending on if I took a trade today and it was still open. Obviously, we did have USD news today, and if you don't know, I closed 10 minutes before. But if we didn't, I might hold till like an hour before the close or something like that, depending on that. Or if I'm busy or I'm out on a Friday, then I can't make that video. However, it will be out over the weekend for you to all see, and it's more relevant as it was this week, and maybe you can compare to yourself, especially days where I've took a trade that correlates with USD, or I use DXY fully analysis. You compare it to your own if you do that, or if you trade gold, you can compare your analysis. Maybe you've done something different to me and it works, maybe you've done something different to me and it lost, and you can see what I did to either learn from. I hope you enjoyed. There's a bit of waffle here. Try not to keep it too long, although I have made like a 15-minute video talking about 2 trades. But either way, I hope you enjoy, and I'll speak to you next time.